12 roller coasters, a great park layout, and now full ownership. I don't know about you, but I'm very intrigued and excited for the future of Six Flags Over Georgia. And here are 5 burning questions that I have for the future of the park, including the last one that would see the current park entrance get removed altogether and replaced with a brand new coaster. And I'm going to show you where exactly over Georgia can build a brand new entrance that's going to transform this park into a much better park and raise it up on the tier list and the whole entire Six Flags chain. Welcome to my channel, Theme Park Brandon. I'm really glad you're here. And Over Georgia is a great park. You have some fantastic coasters, but there's a lot of questions about the future that I just don't know about for this park. For example, burning question number 1. What is the fate of Acrophobia, the park's intimate drop tower? Now, if you've ever been on this ride, you know it's one of a kind. It's the only one like it here in the States, and it's wow. It's not the tallest, but forget the height. It's about the experience. I mean, you are literally hanging there on a bicycle seat practically in between your legs, going up the 200-foot tall tower, and you see the Atlanta skyline off in the distance, and next thing you know, just when you think it's about to drop, the seats tilt forward. And then you get a great view looking downwards. It's not as scary as Falcon's Fury, whatever it's called at Busch Gardens, Tampa, but my lord, Acrophobia, fantastic ride. But with the sudden removal of rides in the Six Flags chain, and intimate rides, mind you, I don't know. I mean, I know the ride reopened this year, was open a lot more this year, which is fantastic news for the park, but man, I would hate to see the ride get removed, but anything's possible. So if it was me, my recommendation for you is hopefully it's open next year, and if it's open, do yourself a favor, get on it. It's so worth it. It's amazing. I absolutely love it. Burning question number 2. What's going to replace Kid Flash? Now, this ride was built by Skyline, and it sounds bad. It looks, I think it's ugly personally. I mean, the lights are cool and all the cool like LED lighting, but other than that, it's just an odd fit. This ride was supposed to be a great family edition. Instead, it became Over Georgia's Top Thrill 2, the great lawn ornament. The only difference is this ride wasn't very good. And I do not see how this ride, it's not going to ever reopen. There's a lot of room here for the park to build something here, whether it's a ride or a coaster, because right next to it, you have the amphitheater that has not been used in forever. And who misses the Batman stunt shows? Because I do. I used to love going to see the Batman stunt shows at all the Six Flags parks. I would love to see them, make these venues back into a stadium or an outdoor entertainment facility, so they can get some cool stunt shows in them. But I doubt it. But if they would remove that stunt show, the theater here, you can see that you're dealing with a great plot of land. And you have the parking lot off in the distance. I mean, you can always expand into that. So this Gotham City area, it's probably my favorite part of Over Georgia. I wish there was more trees, but as far as, I just really like the theming, the colors of it all. They did a really good job. And of course, it's home to the best Batman clone ever, Batman the Ride. That one's just phenomenal, by far the best one out there. But that'll be really cool to see Over Georgia install a new coaster in this location that has the superhero theme. I would love to see what the brand new Six Flags Cedar Fair would do for this park, because we know that Over Georgia needs a major coaster that offers more than 2 trains. You cannot find any coaster in the park, besides the Mine Train, I believe, that's going to offer more than 2 trains, and obviously excluding Daredevil Dive, the Gerstlauer Eurofighter coaster. But capacity could be a concern. The park needs a coaster that can operate 3 train operations. And hopefully, if this is a coaster, then it would be something like that. Maybe a B&M dive coaster or a B&M wing coaster. There's a lot of interesting choices, but more on that in a few minutes, because I think you're really going to like what I have to say for burning question number 5. Burning question number 3. Now that the new Six Flags is taken over and they own everything about this park, they own the park, which is great. Before, just a few weeks ago, they did not own the whole entire park. Now they do. I think we're definitely going to see more expansion for over Georgia. But the burning question number 3 is Hurricane Harbor expansion. So what's really weird about this park is you have the water park. It's just down the street, around 20 minutes away. Whitewater. It's a great water park. A fantastic water park. It's beautiful too, mind you. But then they decided to add a mini water park at over Georgia. You know, the actual dry park. It's not separate gate. You walk through the main park to get to it. I think it might be upcharged. It used to be, but I'm not entirely sure. But it's not like physically a second gate. It has a couple slides, a wave pool, lazy river. It's okay. I mean, I understand the move because it gets crazy hot in Atlanta. Like, oh my gosh, in the summertime, I get it. But will they ever expand more onto this water park? And it's been probably 6 or 7 years since they've added anything to it. And as you can see right here, there's actually quite a bit of room to actually expand the water park. So I guess it all depends on what the new Six Flags sees for the vision of this park. Is this land better off used being for a new potential roller coaster or new themed area for the dry park, or is it better off used for the water park? If it was me, I would continue investing in the water park because they're just extremely popular. So I hope that in the next couple of years, we'll see a couple more slides added, maybe a new mat racer or a water coaster, something. I mean, they definitely need something else there. Now that it's 2025 and you're already starting to plan your trips for this year, and I hope it involves Epic. If you're looking for some great coaster merch, please check out keepridingcoasters.com. You can find all my merch on my website. I designed most of it all myself. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate all the support. And if you're like me, of course, I do talk to myself, and I really do sometimes need coaster advice. So definitely check that out. And it comes in hoodies, t-shirts, tees, women's, kids stuff, all the great stuff. Burning question number 4. Is Daredevil Dive on the chopping block? Now, mind you, this coaster is relatively new. I think it was 2009 maybe, or 2010 when it opened. I actually really like this ride. It's a solid ride. The capacity is horrible. The line sucks. But the ride itself is pretty good. And why I think they might remove it down the road is capacity and potentially maintenance costs. I mean, really just the capacity issue. Each train holds 6 riders, and that's crazy. And you're right in the middle of the park. So over Georgia's kind of like Magic Mountain, where the whole entire park kind of surrounds the hill in the middle of it. And this is up on the upper level of the park, and I feel like there definitely could be better use for this area. Maybe they add a couple new thrilling flat rides, or a new coaster, or a new water ride. Something. If over Georgia is going to remove one coaster next, I think this one could be it for those various reasons besides Kid Flash. Now, maybe over Georgia does the unthinkable and decides to remove Riddler's Mindbender since it's kind of not that good anymore with those new trains. I hope they don't, but you never know. Now, before I get to my final burning question for over Georgia, if you like this style of video, be sure to let me know in the comments and give it a like. That is how I gauge what videos I should do more of and what type of videos I should not do more of. So if you like this style of video, please give it a like. And if you have any requests for any other park out there that you would like me to do a video like this on, again, just let me know in the comments. So burning question number 5, a new park entrance. Now hear me out. If you've never been to over Georgia, it's just the most unusual layout. I can't stand it. So number 1, this is one of the only main large-scale theme parks in the country, I believe, that the main entrance is right on the road that you pull into the park. It's a public road. Anyone can drive down this road. It then would lead into the parking lot toll area, but you can drive around the entrance and then get out of the area. That's a big safety concern. We already seen that over Georgia previously has had some issues with some shootings, and I think a good way to prevent the safety or any lack of it is to move this park entrance somewhere else in the park, that the only people that are going to be walking up in front of the main entrance will be people paying for parking and entering and exiting the park, not driving their cars by. It's kind of a scary thought, to be honest. So if over Georgia will remove the entrance to put it somewhere else, like for example, back where the go-karts are in the very back of the park. Now, the only issue I have with this is the whole flooding issue. The river, as you see right here, sometimes floods. And yes, this area will get covered in water, which is a pain in the butt. But half the park is, or at least a third of the park, is in this flood zone anyways. And that has not stopped them in the past of building new buildings and new areas in this area that's prone to flooding. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. But hear me out. If you had moved the entrance over here and moved the parking, basically handicap parking all over here, preferred parking, and then build a larger parking toll building, because the one they have now is like 3 lanes. It's horrible. Then I really feel like this area can really maximize the potential of Over Georgia in the future. And a shout out to Salone too. It's a great guy. If you ever see him in the park, be sure to give him a hug. He loves hugs. I don't understand it. He just hugs everyone. But anyways, definitely check out this mock layout of a coaster that would basically interact with this whole new entrance plaza for Over Georgia. Now, Over Georgia's finally getting their launch coaster that's opening up next year, the Georgia Surfer. It's the new Intamin water. I don't recall the actual type of coaster it is, but it's a really cool ride. Obviously, you spin on the seats and stuff, go up and down the half pipe and the airtime hill. It looks like a lot of fun, but it's really not a major thrill, a large-scale coaster. So this is where this comes in. I could definitely see a new major coaster coming to the go-kart track area no matter what happens, whether there's a new entrance back here or not. But if there is a new entrance, how cool would it be if we would see a brand new Premier Rides launch coaster interact with the entrance, have a flyby element as you walk right underneath it to get in and out of the park, and then having this coaster feature 3 to 4 inversions, airtime hills, be around a top height of around 150 feet. Like, that would look so cool as you park your car and you walk in up to the park and seeing this really cool launch coaster. It just really kind of makes you anticipate you're going to have even a better day. Because over Georgia, you park your car now, you need to walk around a quarter mile just to get to the entrance. And then from there, you walk in the entrance and you don't see any rides. You have to go to the right or to the left. So this right here would really just, the whole experience, in my opinion, would be much better. Now, there's another coaster here, because with removing the entrance and moving it in the back of the park, that frees up that area. And I think it would be a very smart move if Over Georgia would invest in a brand new B&M family inverted coaster that offers at least 2 trains that really showcases what Phoenix Rising does best, but only larger. Something like that, I just feel like would do really well at Over Georgia for the families and for this area. That way, when you pull in off the highway, you see the new coaster right there. Then you turn left to go park your car. Now, this ride would be about 80 feet high and feature no inversions, but still offer a great ride. And it would not surprise me to see Over Georgia over the next 6 or 7 years potentially get 2 new coasters on top of the Georgia Surfer, now that the full ownership of the park is taking place. But I just think that adding a coaster in this area would make the most sense, and relocating the park entrance will make make so much more sense. But here's another caveat to that and there's another parking lot that's located on the other side of Twisted Cyclone. And they hardly ever use this parking lot anymore. They used to years ago. So I don't know what the status of that parking lot is, but I know that the parking lot behind Batman, where the new entrance would be, let's say, you would take up a few parking spots to build the entrance, of course, but they could always shuttle people from that parking lot over there to the front entrance if they had to. Or they could even make a small secondary entrance, kind of like what Dollywood has for their second parking lot, the preferred parking lot area. They could always make a small entrance next to the B&M family inverted coaster to make so that way people that are parking on that parking lot can come in to that side of the park. Who knows what's going on? I'm just saying Over Georgia has a very, very bright future ahead of it. I'm very excited, and I think you should be as well. Now, would you believe me that Steel Vengeance is not even my top 5 in the coaster rankings? Trust me, you're going to want to check out my top 25 coasters in the video that you see at the bottom of your screen right here. With that being said, I want to know what your thoughts are on Over Georgia and the future of the park. What are your thoughts on my kind of visions for the park and my predictions? You know what to do. Let me know in the comments. And most importantly, guys, this is Theme Park Brandon. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and of course, keep riding coasters.